Hi everyone. Today on the show I have Sarah Collins, who's professor of fashion at the Savannah College of Art and Design. We're going to be talking about collaging for concept design. So do you have tons of images, tons of Pinterest boards? You don't know how to put them together to generate really cool designs? Well, watch the show. You're going to learn how. It's great. Thanks so much.
So Sarah, can you tell us, what does it mean to collage for concept development? Is that like a mood board?
Well, for me, when I'm designing, one of the scariest things is that blank page.
Yeah.
Look at the blank page. I have my pencil and I always doodle like the same A-line skirt, like every time. You know, for me, it's to get over that hurdle. I also kind of call this like jump starting creativity. Okay. So this is a way that just helps me start generating ideas, getting things out, you know, and we can only look at fashion so much, you know, especially modern fashion. It's always good to know trends and you need to know the colors and, you know, details and fabrics and all of that, especially when you're doing more of a mass market. But you know, you want to add something new to it. And I always kind of joke with my students that I'm like, if we only look at fashion and only reference fashion to make new fashion, then it's a bit like being incestuous.
Right.
You know, we're just going to make some bad copies of things. We're not adding in new blood. So if we can look at historical fashion, if we can look at, you know, architecture, vases, flowers, I mean, it could be a dead bird on the side of the road. I don't care. You know, just let's bring in something new. So I love Pinterest. I know some people are not big fans, but for me, I've seen your desktop before and I remember it had like lots of files on it.
Yes.
Lots and lots of files. So that's the way that mine used to be, because I would see an image that I loved and would just download it, you know, or make a copy of it. Yes. So Pinterest to me allows me, if I'm doing it on the computer, a place to put all of those, you know, like a way to organize.
Yep. Got it.
So I like to use taking pictures of bodies for collage.
Is this the silhouette per se or like the body type?
So this is a couple of different things because I've got several different bodies in here. You know, I have some plus size and then but I'm looking, and I like to have bathing suits because then I get naked limbs. So I will select, you know, one of my people. And then for instance, I get down these rabbit holes where I start looking at things and I'm like, oh, I love this. And so I'll start kind of collecting. I also think I'm like a magpie, like anything like shiny, cowgirl, like 1940s Western cowgirl looks, 1940s and 50s.
Okay.
I called it If I Had a Boat after the Lyle Lovett song, if you know that one.
Yes, got it.
So he can't bring himself to marry old Dale. But I'm like, I'll dress Dale. Maybe you'll like her better.
I went to see Lyle Lovett in concert right after Julia Roberts broke up with him. And it was a very sad concert.
I was looking at these and I'm thinking, okay, how can I take these but update them? How can I make them modern and do something with them? So what I will do is that I will take then one of my bodies. She's not one of my favorites.
Very nice. I like her.
So I'll take the body and what I will do is I generally will like put her in, you know, black and white just to push her to the back. So I'm not really looking at her. So what I'll do is I'll take one of the pictures and then I'll start looking at, you know, different aspects of it. And so I was looking at, this is a bit pixelated, but I was looking at this kind of a really cool, like the jeans underneath, but then the chaps.
Yes.
On top of that.
It looks like a cool belt-ish thing.
Yes. And so I was like, well, what can I do with that? Or taking a look at the gloves or, you know, just different pieces and seeing bits and bobs, really. Like I love all of these kind of smile pocket almost with the arrows at the end.
Yeah.
But then I can start to take a look. Let me take that off. And so here I was pulling it up and skewing it to see like, well, what if I made it a top? And then I went to a different, and then this is a pant leg.
Okay.
That I was looking at. This was, I think, the top of a skirt. And so very often I will,
So then you'll just layer it onto your model,
just
and see how it looks.
Mhm.
And you cut these pieces in Photoshop. You snip them in Photoshop and then layer them onto the model in another tab.
Correct. So like this is a glove.
Oh, cool.
The gloves that start here come up, and then I took the pant leg, the chaps, to make the sleeve here. And then there were these other chaps that were these like fur chaps.
Yeah.
So I took those and placed them on to make it more of a dress.
Got it. Yeah, that's very cool.
Then I took one of the other gloves that had a little thing, and I was like, well, what if this is a hat? What if this is some sort of like a bow?
And so that really creates these really unique designs and ideas, rather than me like copying something very directly from another designer or shirt I saw, shopping online.
So things like this is actually a top, but I turned it sideways and then layered it with a skirt underneath to create the shoulder. So again, I'm looking at this. Do I want this to be tooled leather? Do I want this to be fringe right here? Or is this like a knife pleat for the sleeve? Playing around to see what I would like. Like this one, I put a belt up here. And again, that's a boot. This is an upside down vest or jacket that I placed on her to make a romper. So this is Procreate. So it does have each of those layers.
Did you image trace it, or did you just draw over it?
I just drew over it.
Got it. Okay, got it. So that is in a software for the iPad called Procreate?
Yeah, so this is Procreate, which my daughter loves. And every time she's like, Mom, I'm going to go Procreate. I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to draw
Procreate.
On Procreate. Funny name, but maybe not the best in all situations.
Right.
I'm like, Procreate, I get, but when you say Procreate, it kind of,
I thought that
sounds a little funny.
Like, is it editable if you upload it into Photoshop or Illustrator?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it will I can come over here under my actions. And so I can, when I go to share, I can save it as a PSD.
Okay.
And so it will be, put into layers. And so I could, send it to you right now. And actually it says video. And so what's really kind of cool is I can hit the time-lapse replay. And can you see how it's showing you all of the...
Oh, that is super cool. I love it. I love it. So what we've learned so far is you've got your library of models. Then you've got your inspiration, your different categories of inspiration. One of those was this Western, they're paper dolls. And then you cut those apart, use the different pieces for a new garment, uploaded it into Procreate, and now it's becoming this unique design. That is very cool.
Yeah. And so I do things like on this one, I moved it over and accidentally erased a little bit, but the cow print I thought was maybe too on the nose, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like to wear cow print. I'm like, I don't want to associate myself with a cow.
Right.
Love cows. I don't want to look like a cow.
Right. Exactly.
So I was turning that print into a floral.
Right. That's so nice.
What if I love that?
Got it. Okay.
So as I go in, I can start to change things where, I might have had the straps from the bikini showing originally. I made this come up a little bit higher so that this came over the dress. So in my head, I changed it a bit where, okay, there's this one dress underneath, and then I have this kind of a shrug type top, sort of a jacket, I guess, that comes on top. And so as I redraw it, I have to start making those decisions.
Got it.
How do I want this to work? Then I can take this and start to make the flat from it. Okay. So that can really help me decide, okay, now I have to think about the construction. How am I actually going to make this? Is this going to be a flat hand that holds the sleeve? Is this something that's 3D printed? Is this something that I would make out of fabric and stuff, with like a batting?
Yeah.
I have to start making those decisions. And then sometimes I will do that and make 2 or 3 versions of that. Okay. So what if I make it out of this? What if I do it in this way? And I can draw those separately, or, explore, okay, this has a fringe down the side. I've got a fur part to the dress. Is that maybe too much? Maybe I need to start backing it up a little bit, reverse the bust, because, I've gone too far. But I always find it's easier to kind of water it down for me than to add it back on. So,
okay. Yeah, I see.
Like I said, quick process, and it gets me going. And then I can go away from the computer and hand sketch because I've already gotten started.
Got it. Okay.
What would this look like if I translated this into a pair of jeans? This little motif that I'm looking at that I've tried to reuse, can I put that onto a pocket on the back? Can I create the smile pockets with the little arrows at the end, that pair of jeans? And again, water it down if I need it to make more commercial.
Got it. Okay. Now, is this like a process that you teach in your classes?
I do. Okay.
Listen, I learned something new today. I always like to see people's process and, how they go about, because every designer does things differently, and some more, in a more structured way, some more in a like haphazard way, and neither is right or wrong, but, it's fun to see what people
how they do it.
How they do it. What is one of your, would you say, your secrets in your collaging that you had to get, you figured out one day? Like, if I would have known that a year ago, things would be so much easier.
So for me, the two kind of, there's 2 things. One, the easiest is the reflective, to do it on one side, and then I can just, make sure I do it all on one side and then flip it, as opposed to doing. And I'm bad about that. Or sometimes I'll do something, flip it, do something else, change this around. So then I have to delete that side again.
Yeah.
But the ease of not having to draw it again is sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm doing flats. That's the big thing. But there's a thing in Photoshop under the edit tool called puppet warp. And it makes me puppet warp.
Puppet warp. I'm taking notes.
But the puppet warp, what it allows me to do is, and here it is here, is see, it gives this kind of a not quite a grid system, but a netting almost on top of it.
Yeah.
And so if I see how it gives me a little push pin?
Yeah.
And so that will allow me to stretch and warp. Exactly. So I can make things fit around the body a little bit more, or I can say, oh, I need to stretch this out. And that's how I got kind of the top going over, is I was able to push it, over the chest and get the shape that I wanted.
I see. Okay. That's very helpful. So the puppet warp effect, that is very cool.
So it's, like I said, it always makes me giggle, because on something like her, if I wanted to take, let's see if I can get her arm here. There we go. And I do my edit and puppet warp, I would need to kind of shove that there. But see, I can move her arm.
That's amazing.
I can make her dance.
Yes.
So,
got it. Whoa, that's amazing. I need to spend more time in Photoshop.
Make them do some funny things.
Yeah. Okay.
But for the clothing, being able to just go ahead and curve it around the body or move it, stretch it in the ways that I want, has made it go a lot quicker. So it doesn't look
like you pasted it on there. It actually looks 3D or form fitted. Got it.
Correct. And so again, that just helps me visualize. And then for others, it can help them visualize, oh, okay, I understand that you want it to go around the body here, or that this becomes, a top or a top there. Oh, I was going to say, there's also where you can take, and I do this from time to time, where I will take a silhouette and cut out the silhouette and then put objects behind it. And that will help me think about, what could happen if this becomes, again, if I take a vase and put it behind, then it may suggest seam lines. It may suggest an opening.
I see. Okay, cool.
But Iris Van Herpen actually uses Photoshop to do a lot of her designs. And to me, I can see it. I'm like, that's where this trompe l'oeil, that's where some of these, it's 2D, it's 3D comes from, because that's how she's using the computer to do it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to.
Of course, hopefully that'll inspire somebody and they'll be like, let me try this, see what happens.
I'm inspired. I mean, I've gotten some tips I'm very excited about, so I appreciate that. So
great. If not, you'll be able to, take the arms of a loved one and make them do a little dance.
Make them hug me. My sons, they have to hug me in photos. When they don't,
they won't do it. So you're like, oh yeah,
you're going to hug me. That's right.